Welcome to this very special episode of What If Mythtakes Were Mates? Aaron came up with that title, and I think it's a very good one. Today on our mini show, we have our good friend Leo. Say hello, Leo.
Hello.
Wow. A powerful presence, even for that just one word. I enjoyed that.
I'm getting Corbin Dallas vibes at the moment.
I'm just staying in my lane. I'm only saying exactly what you've asked me to say, and now I've already ruined it.
Well, no, we have to get the next Leo.
Game plan out the window.
So usually, Leo, in these small episodes, we kind of just screw around and have like a format where we invent things off the top of our heads. But now we have an episode with you on it. And you're going to tell us some incredible tales of things that you've been thinking of and writing down about our setting. Which I am absolutely delighted by. But before we get started, I just want to check in with everyone. How is everyone? I'm going to start with Aaron. Aaron, how are things with you, buddy?
Solid. Things have been pretty decent. I had an awesome one-shot with a bunch of awesome teens last weekend that went particularly well. I recently got interviewed by The Advertiser, which is our local rag, with some really good journalists. And
not a real rag, but an actual newspaper that people over 60 read.
Pretty much.
It's like for those of you who are listening who might be a little bit younger, a newspaper is like ChatGPT, but some of the information is accurate.
Yes, less hallucinations and more editorial control. It went really well. They were just a couple of young journalists looking to discuss more about their geek stuff, and tabletop RPGs was one of them, and we had a lovely chat about that.
Yeah, young people disgust me, so I would not be caught dead speaking to them on any level. Leo, how about you, buddy? I haven't seen you for ages.
It has been a minute. The disadvantages of living in different parts of the country, unfortunately. Apart from being a little bit under the weather this week, I've been pretty good.
That's incredible. What's like new in your life? Like new and exciting. I know that you have a child, which is sort of is that still new to you, or has this become an everyday kind of?
9 months old, and every day is new to me. I come home from work, and he just seems to have doubled in size. It's
oh my
a
God.
pretty awesome thing to come home to, though. Seeing that little kid smile at me with his two little goofy teeth. So
that is so good.
Yeah, beyond that, I've finally finished getting ink smashed into my arm. So I finally finished my sleeve, which I'm pretty happy with.
More tattoos.
Yes.
That's so brilliant.
Yeah.
I was thinking tell us about it later. I can't see it very well because of our connection. Actually now I can. That looks quite amazing. For those people who are listening, this does not make for very good listening. Imagine the coolest fucking tattoo you've ever seen. Leo's got that. That's really cool.
It's just a lot of black work and sort of geometric, but I really like the way it flows, and the artist that did it was a pretty awesome dude. So shout out to Tony at Exo Temple there. But beyond that, we had the medieval fair at Paracombe recently. So I spent Friday getting my arm tattooed for 6 hours, and then I spent the next 2 days pulling back a bow, wearing furs, and pretending I was a Viking. It was a pretty good weekend.
I mean, you don't have to pretend you're a Viking. It's not cultural appropriation. You can just be a Viking. There's no Vikings around, as far as I know. There's you.
I do my best. So, but yeah, no, it was good fun, good time.
That sounds really awesome. I've actually never been to a medieval fair, which probably surprises a lot of people because I am right. Well, I am all about the medieval lifestyle. Like I do like to sort of waddle in mud, and I do occasionally wear rags.
I'm drinking mead right now.
I'm drinking this delicious Chinese Qingdao beer from the city of Qingdao, which used to be occupied by Germany. And they left all their beer. As for me, guys...
any alcohol.
What's that?
Aaron dares to be different without drinking alcohol.
Aaron dares to be different because of his alcohol intolerance / allergy?
Technically, it's intolerance, but I say allergy because if you say you're alcohol intolerant, people just think you're, intolerant, not lacking in enzymes.
Well,
but anyway, let me tell you.
We don't like to be... We don't like to be intolerant on this podcast. We like to be inclusive. So I'd like you to be inclusive, Aaron, towards our alcohol, please.
Hospital visit in my future. How about you, Chris? How is things with you? What's new, exciting, cool, interesting, groovy, and neat?
All of those things are new with me. I have recently become a homosexual owner of a home.
Congratulations.
With my wife. So we recently bought a townhouse, which is like a house, but not as good by any metric, but still pretty good because you get to live in it, which is nice. And the bank has already started taking our money and deciding how much of that money we're allowed to keep for things such as eating, which is, turns out, guys, not as much as you'd think. But it's pretty good. We haven't moved in, obviously. That's why I'm still in this mess at the moment. The whole thing goes through about mid-June. So in the school holidays here, we'll probably have some time. But we have to do some renovations and getting some carpet pulled up and stuff like that. So, but that's very exciting for me. That's the most exciting thing that's happened recently. And guys, homes are really expensive. Did you know this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't believe we've been talking for 7 minutes.
We've introduced our new member. Not that he's going to be doing much, our regular stuff, but we'd like to bring him back in the future. But
I think of Leo as a member.
I'm sure you do. Let's rock on.
I appreciate that.
So it was the
You're welcome.
episode. Which episode number was it? Was it 4? I forget where we're at. Yeah, episode 4. We talked about, we both talked about in the end, the Vaesta, a type of wizard, and that got your brain meats working, Leo. So
as has often been the case in our fairly long history at this point, you come up with brilliant ideas and just inspire me to just build off them. And that's exactly what happened in this case.
Well, I know you've written some of those brain meat ideas down. Would you like to, sort of in the manner of what we do in our primary episodes, read out what you've done, and then Chris and I will sort of. I don't think we should go to war with them. Maybe just sort of like a light.
I don't want to go to war with Leo.
No, I think we'd.
I know I would win. I know I would win. Don't laugh, Aaron. I've been practicing jujitsu and all the other jitsus. And I've finished watching all of Naruto. So now I know the jutsus as well as the jitsus. So yeah, Leo, I think I'm going to be all right.
Just gently caress me.
Just gently caress you, yeah. But yeah, look, I am very interested in what you have to say, Leo. You just alluded to, we've known each other for quite a long time. I think Aaron has known you for longer than I have. But we did meet in high school, of all places.
Yeah, I
was thinking about that.
In decades at this point.
I know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that the other day, actually, the three of us and, our friendship group from high school has become a little bit fragmented as it tends to, which is, I think, normal. But I know I tend to be a little bit on the cynical side, guys, but I think it's actually a wonderful gift, and I really appreciate both of you.
Oh, I very much echo that same
Not
sentiment.
the beer talking. Hooray! It's a little. I mean, I haven't had that much, to be honest. I've just had like this much. It's not a lot. I'm just, you know what? I'm just feeling really good. I feel good about this. I feel good about life. Yeah, things are fantastic, just in general. Not in the world, but like in my head.
Well, it's a good place to start.
All right, my friend Leo, you've got some writing for us. Let's hear it, and we'll. You've actually sort of got it in 2 parts, if memory serves.
I loved the basic idea that you sort of presented, and then I had 2 sort of ideas that went in parallel, I think, that just sort of branched out from what you put down originally. And then So when I wrote it out, I basically just looked at one branch first and then moved on to the next branch. So it probably would take a little bit of massaging to really sort of work with the world that you guys are building, but I think there's some building blocks there for anyone.
We can massage it. We can do it, man.
Yeah.
We can massage it together.
Well, what I was thinking was that to break it up a little bit, if you read that first section, and then we'll have a good chat about it, or at least a little bit of a chat, and then we'll get you go back into reading the second section, and then we'll massage the whole thing into a nice, chill, relaxed whole, and send them off with I forget what that's called.
I love a relaxed whole. Let's do it.
Do you? I prefer a nice tense one. I'm going to. I'm going to turn off.
You knew it was coming, Aaron.
Yeah.
I regretted I was going when as soon as I began, and I just could not see a safe off ramp.
Guys, this is a safe space. I am going to turn off my mic, so if you don't hear me going, "Oh my god, that's really interesting," and things like that, I am thinking it. But this way, then it won't interfere with your recording.
No worries. Cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, originally I just sort of acknowledged what Aaron put down. The practitioners known as Vaesta. Essentially, they're wizards of a certain flavor, and their magical language and the practice that they have is Vaesta. Just clarifying, it's constructed artificial static language. Its primary focus is clarity, and each word has a specific and singular meaning represented with its own glyph. This covers every phoneme a humanoid can produce. Speaking Vaesta requires a gestural element as well. Feel free to correct me if I ever get any of this quite incorrect, but that was my understanding. Where I posited to go from there was 4 different tiers of fluency, and each tier shows a deeper understanding of the language and a greater affinity for its use, which I thought allowed to just sort of play with it a little bit more within the framework that Aaron had already laid out. The first tier I called the Gruidae, or cranes, and this requires both hands, or primary manipulation appendages, to be employed in the gestures and the words to be clearly enunciated in stark tones, much like Aaron's original depiction. The second tier I called the Alludidae, or larks. I'm probably pronouncing the Latin horribly, but there we go. This allows the gestural component to be described by a single appendage, and words are still distinctly recognizable from one another to an outside listener, even if the meaning or the understanding isn't apparent. However, the Vaestari can now carry a rhythm, pattern, or meter to their speech, and at times this can sound almost poetic or musical, depending on the spell being cast and its unique subset of phonemes. Combined with the gestures of one or both hands, a casting Vaestari at this tier of fluency can sometimes appear to be almost dancing whilst they speak aloud their spell. Far from a performative art, this still focused on clarity and rule, there is still no mistaking the act for what it is. A practitioner casting a spell, just sometimes it can look and sound appealing. So from there, we went to the third tier, or the Minuridae, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, can't get my tongue around that one. The liars, essentially, in the common parlance. Gestures can be condensed into precise movements of a single hand or the fingers. Vocally, the sounds, the grammar, and the syntax are all still observed by the Vaestari, but they have such a grasp of the language, or at least the portion of it that they have devoted themselves to mastering, that the mental framework they've built supports the clarity of intent, even when the words are run together so quickly that an outside observer cannot easily differentiate one word or sound from the next. Vaestari at this tier are generally considered to be among the elite practitioners of this discipline, formidable in their own right and capable of casting even in moments of stress or duress. And that departed rather significantly from Aaron's original sort of depiction. So this is where I sort of started getting a little bit carried away. The fourth tier, or the Cucludiae, or the cuckoos, are extremely rare. The practitioners operating at this level, whilst generally still possessed of a broader knowledge of the language than the lower tier practitioners, are still unlikely to have mastered or even learned the entire vocabulary of Vaesta. They more often than not cast various spells at lower tiers of fluency. However, for a small and very select number of spells or effects they have truly mastered, their understanding of and familiarity with the specific words and gestures is so deep and so practiced that their mental framework that they have built for these effects is robust and rigid enough that it allows the wizard to create their own shorthand for these spells. The shorthand is unique to each wizard, so personal that it simply cannot be taught to another, and can be thought of as a reference to the actual spell held in their mind, more so than speaking the spell itself. A word of power, as it were. If the spell were a tale, the wizard's shorthand would be the tale's title. This allows an entire effect to be manifested with but a single utterance or gesture. Whilst this is immensely powerful, it is also immensely specific. A wizard may be able to generate light in a dark cave with a stable temperature, predictable airflow, and knowable geography. But that same wizard may not be able to generate the same effect if the lights go out mid-bar fight, covered in beer, jostled around, and unable to even tell which way is north. At least not with this method of casting. It's also immensely difficult to reach this depth of understanding and form entirely new words whilst maintaining the clarity and purity of intent required to pull off such a feat. As a corollary to the difficulty of attaining this level of fluency with Vaesta, it's, perhaps obviously, is extremely dangerous to attempt, as the very act of creating a single new word to capture and express a desired effect runs counter to the very premise of Vaesta itself. And this may be semantics, but Vaesta encompasses all possible phonemes. Does this mean it therefore encompasses all possible words? I would argue no. Just the sounds that make up those words. So a Vestari could, in theory, create a new Vaesta word by finding a unique, to them, combination of phonemes that could ascribe their own meaning to. The meaning of this specific effect and how it interacts with the current environment, for example. As a Vestari, as Vaesta is such a vast language, the Vestari may well unknowingly sacrifice a Vaesta word they don't currently know but could have learned in the future in the creation of their shorthand, redefining that word in the process of linking it to the construct of their spell within their vocabulary. This may mean that they limit themselves in their potential by removing entire words and their meaning from their potential vocabulary, now never able to vocalize the distinct shade of blue at the base of a flame, cutting themselves off from some or all fire magics, as they no longer have the adequate descriptor to fully realize a candle flame into existence. Alternately, they may come to learn the true Vaesta meaning of a word, unraveling their shorthand completely, and thus cutting them off from the ability to manifest that effect with previous fluency. Another reason this practice is so dangerous is that the purity of thought and intent required, and the ease with which a wizard's own consciousness can corrupt or colour that intent, is so delicate that the odds of wild, explosive magical backlash are far greater than that of creating the desired effect where and how the wizard intends. But if a true master can achieve this, the focus power available to the Vestari in the right circumstances could change the very world. And that's the first part.
Mm-hmm.
I stumbled a bit
I
there.
like that a lot. Oh my god. No. Dude, that was really good.
Yeah,
I like that.
And for any listeners, it's that part already is larger than the original section on Vaesta that I came up with. So,
Like I said, you give me an idea and I just kind of run with it. It's not the first time this has happened.
That's true.
I mean, that's the idea. I think that's the idea behind the podcast in general as well, right? Like we have, like we have these ideas and they are all meant to be expanded upon. Perhaps we don't have the time to expand on every one of the ideas, but in time we could.
Yeah, and that's what I've loved about sort of role-playing games, like over the years playing with you guys, is we get someone else's imagination put down into a book or whatever, and then they release that to the world for us to go and play in, and we can tweak it how we like to put our own spin on it, our own flavor. And that's kind of what I've done here with what Aaron's sort of initially sort of put down.
You have, yeah, you have, and yeah, no, I agree with you. To me, that's kind of the beauty of the role playing space, is that it's kind of a playground for us to play in, but also redefine as we see fit. It's, we get we get this kind of framework for how to use our imaginations, and within that framework, I think we've talked about this, Aaron, in the past, is that if you have all these constraints through, narrative, a setting, or rules, then you're actually more creative, because you're bound within that framework. So you have to think outside the square to have interesting interactions and ideas there.
It's not just that,
Yeah,
but
I kind of think of that framework as giving you the tools to play with, whereas if you're just operating in an abyss, there's nothing there. Like, you've
That's
got to
right.
create everything to even start building, whereas that framework gives you those toys to start mucking around with and to see how they work.
there's a near infinite amount of sand on the real world, but nobody calls it a sand pit. When you put a couple of squares around it and you sit in it, then suddenly things happen, even though it is a fraction of the side of what is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a sandbox. And that's what Minecraft is.
Amongst other things.
Jack Black.
I was thinking,
Shameless
no, it's Roblox is where the pedophiles hunt, isn't it? Anyway, so I was
Pedophiles are everywhere.
Unfortunately, true. There's a couple of points to bring up. One, in the original episode when I introduced the Vaesta, Chris talked about a style of Vaesta called the Path of the Poet. Now, the thing is,
this heavily influenced me. Both of you.
It really does seem to me that actually fits in quite well, but if I want to sort of talk about the idea that I have, I kind of need to do something we don't normally do and actually talk about crunchy rule side of things. Do you guys mind if I talk about that sort of stuff?
Go for it.
I don't mind at all, because I don't understand rules. I tried crossing a road the other day, and I ended up in the sewer. So it is very difficult for me. So if you could do this task for us, I would be very appreciative.
All right.
And I don't mind, because I'm a guest here. You do what you want to do.
That is also true. So I've already been sort of working on some of the rules for the various classes that we've been inventing. One of the things that I wanted to do with the Vaesta was that, because the sentence spells take time to recite, that and I was working ways of working at it, and honestly, your suggestion has actually helped bring a bit more form to that. My initial thought was that your basic Vaestari would take a full action. It takes a whole round, and your spell does not take effect until the beginning of your next turn. Whereas if you were taking the Path of the Poet, you would be able to do it a bit more quickly. You'd be able to do it just as a single action, and it takes effect immediately. The balance there is that I want there to be essentially critical fails specifically for magic. Magic is meant to be more deadly, more dangerous in our setting in Heliakon, so that every spell requires a casting roll, whether it's the attack roll itself or if it's just resisted by a stat or something similar, then you just make a casting roll before that occurs. For a standard spell, things only go terribly awry on a 1, or potentially not even at all. That you're enough of a master to be able to manage lower level stuff. But as soon as you start doing anything fancy, like trying to shorten things via the Path of the Poet, or making a power word at the very high levels of Vestari, that window of error that we've all sort of mentioned to some degree starts to expand quite a bit. So 1 through 5 can cause things to go awry. So my first thought would be that the Path of the Poet is something that any Vaestari can choose to do. They can choose to have those mnemonics in their spell book, and they can choose to recite poetry instead of a spell, but they can only do that starting at the second level, the what do we call them? The Alaudidae. You actually mentioned that there's a certain level of poetry at that level.
Yeah, that's really good.
And I'm
Yeah,
just
I
thinking,
almost viewed the first rank as essentially the realm of ritual magic only. Like that's almost how I viewed the way you initially sort of sold this, where this magic can be very, very powerful, but it's so specific and takes so long to actually like birth into creation that it is just not practical in like a day-to-day adventurous setting, for example. So
Mm.
that's where I really liked what Chris was coming up with where you could take that power and you could put it in a spell book so that you could have this ritual magic almost like locked and loaded, ready to go. That was how I sort of viewed that first rank. And then, yeah, the fluency increased the ability to be more flexible with it on the fly.
I'm not against that. The idea of just only allowing ritual magic for the first rank, and maybe that is the first 3 levels of your character. Like, congratulations, you're a wizard. You can do magic, just not while somebody's throwing things at you or trying to hit you with a sword.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool take on magic. I thought with the way you put that through, because every wizard in D&D or whatever has their spell book and they have to prepare their spells, but then they just open it and they speak it and make the gesture. And if you're the storyteller that
they have a
cares about
magic card.
reagents, you spend the reagents and then the effect's done.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the way you sort of put this forward and the way I saw it was like, yeah, you can do very much like Mage the Awakening when we were first doing like the first role-playing game I played with you. That's what I loved about Mage. If you can imagine it, you could do it. You just had to have the level of understanding. And in that system, it was portrayed with, you know, your dots and your points and leveling, blah, blah, blah. And that had it sort of resonated a little bit with me in this circumstance as well, but just a lot more rigid and slower, I guess. But I liked it because it was a unique take on magic. Powerful, but very specific.
This is something, yeah, this is something that I am very passionate about when it comes to magic and wizardry and stuff like that. Is I like this idea that magic is this incredible pathway to, you know, glorious cosmic power, but that it's also extremely difficult and inconvenient. You know, and especially that when you are learning it at the lower levels, that it is something that is very like situational, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
that old adage of that sort of wizard in the tower. Like wizards have always been sort of portrayed as very scholarly and always like students of the arcane. The adventuring wizard has a very limited amount of power that they can actually tap into on the road. It's why these wizards are lifelong students. They are constantly engaged in getting deeper and deeper into the mythos or the lore or the history or the magic of whatever the case may be of whatever system you're in. And that became even more apparent with the Vaesta sort of framework that Aaron presented, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, they're big wizards are big nerds.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
correct.
then your Path of the Poet made it accessible for a player to actually be able to use that magic in a game rather than just having this narratively awesome sort of thing. And obviously, system wise, you and I, Aaron, probably had a different sort of take on where it was going. That was sort of how I viewed it. I'm like, this sounds awesome, but how would this be useful to an adventuring party in going down into the depths of the catacombs or whatever under Heliakon?
It's important to me that it is still cool to play a Vaesta, that it is
Yes.
a good option. I do like the idea of congratulations, you've got ritual magic only for the first so many levels, because ritual magic is still useful, particularly if you expand the number of rituals that currently exist in standard D&D, because it's a woefully underutilized mechanic, but that's a
Yeah,
doable thing.
and ritual magic is potentially so powerful. It just needs the time and it needs the focus and the concentration.
And it is limited. You're not going to defeat the boss with ritual magic, but you might find them. You might get away there. You might work out what you're doing. So then you go to the Path of the Poet to do things with any level of speed. You can get a little bit faster as you rank up / level up, because I suspect they'd be, by level 15, level 16, then you become the Kukula Day, I think it was, the Kukuku level.
Yeah, I tried to keep it in the sort of bird family. It appealed to me, and it was actually my wife Lisa's idea. Yeah,
Birds are so cool. I love
I had
birds.
one name.
Aren't they cool?
It was a bird name. Yeah. I had one bird name, and I was like, "Oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that?" She's like, "Do them all birds." And we did like a quick Google search, and bang, 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 and there it was.
Hey, not related, but do you reckon that birds with teeth are cool? Like in fantasy, I think birds with teeth are super cool.
Cooler than normal birds.
Yeah, cooler than normal
bird. Bird fan.
Horrifying.
You're not a bird fan, Leo?
I like owls.
Because
they fly silently. That's pretty much as far as my.
The bird possesses the cloaca, which is an incredible.
The role of the bird to possess that.
I look. It's an incredible everything hole, and isn't that great?
It's amazing.
It's a gift from God, I think. Anyway, sorry, I don't have anything more to contribute. Please, Aaron, please say something cool.
I did have more to say, but for some reason, all I'm thinking about is, oh God, do I still need to be here while Chris talks about cloacas?
Well, you don't want to know. You know, the pee and the poo comes out at the same time, and they can't control it. That would be the worst part about being a kenku. They would be constantly shitting their pants.
I would assume by the level of sapience, they do gain conscious control over whatever body functions that they might have.
So this is your theory that it's with sapience, so comes butthole control?
Yes.
Hey, same with kids, man.
Right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You know what, guys? I thought this was actually a really funny joke for a second, but now I just agree with you. This is science.
Totally.
Yep.
The power word thing at the Kukula Day level, I adore it. I particularly love the idea that because they invent a word, that the chances of it then interrupting or causing their ability to develop as a Vestari becomes potentially limited. And I haven't got any sort of like nailed down ideas, but my thought would be that if you choose to take a spell as a power word, you then have to define the situation. I loved it. So is it indoors or outdoors? Is it like if it targets an individual, then it has to be specifically like, yes, I've got the ability to use the spell hold person, but it only works indoors on orcs and only during the day. You've got to have like 3 stipulations like that.
And that's what I loved about the way you portrayed that. Like the language describes everything, and that means that you have to be so specific and so clear with how you formulate a spell. So when you start getting into these shorthands, you can get yourself into trouble really quickly. Oh my God.
Our listeners are not going to see that, Chris. And honestly, I envy our listeners at this stage.
It wasn't his cloaca.
Do you know what it is? It's actually, I got it from a gacha machine, and it's not as sexual as it looks. This is just a Japanese sarariman, and he's just going ooh like that. He's not waiting for a big cock, which is what it looks like, but it's not. I also have another one.
No.
Hold on. This one, he's a sleepy one. So he can sleep on top of it, like this bottle. He can have a little nap on top of it. Yeah, you like that? Is it? Oh, anyway, it's very difficult. No, yeah, I don't know why he's going. Ooh, it does look very sexual. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to stop.
Keep us on track here.
What?
Aaron's trying to keep us on track. He's hurting.
Yeah, sorry, Aaron. Yeah, please. Sorry. I'm sorry, Aaron. I love you.
Okay. The hell was I talking about? So, when you do make a power word, and you do give it its 3 specifics, just as a gameable thing. Otherwise, it goes beyond the tabletop for terms of play. But At that point, you then pick one of the schools of magic. I don't think we're actually going to have schools of magic within the setting of Heliakon, but within the rules of D&D, they will still exist. And at that point, you can, whatever level spell you say, you take the level 4 spell. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any because I'm still have that image of that weird Serari man figure in my head. Take your level 4.
It's because no normal person actually remembers any level of D&D spell. Come on, Aaron, Jesus Christ.
So I won't talk about the ones I do remember. Cool, excellent. Then at that point, you can no longer learn higher level spells from that school. So if you take Fireball, which is a level 4 spell, then you can no longer take evocation spells higher than level 4 unless you lose that power word Fireball.
That's a cool idea. Yeah. You can have this awesome thing,
Yeah.
but that's as far as you go.
Yep.
Yeah. That's really good. That's a really good way. Yeah, no, that is a really good way of balancing
The
it.
alternative might be, and I'm just spitballing.
Mm-hmm.
Spitball. Yep.
Your language at that point is to a degree of understanding in that realm or that branch of magic that you're studying. Your fluency in that branch, that area is really, really deep, usually to the exclusion of other things. Mm-hmm. So if you decide I'm going to take Fireball at this level, then okay, that's it. You're locked into being a fire mage. Or you can no longer you can't go after wind or ice or water or something.
Sort of the old 3rd edition specialist wizards then. So if you pick a power word for Fireball, which is an evocation spell, you then have to pick 2 other schools that you can no longer learn spells in.
Yeah, because it just shows that that's the area of the Vaesta language that you are studying, that you are specializing in, that you understand, that you're building the mental frameworks for, and that will allow you to then create further shorthands for further fire effects. But all you're doing is fire now.
But that's the thing, this is a cruel reflection of real life. For example, if you study to become a carpenter, the more you learn about carpentry, the less likely you are to become a pilot.
Yeah. I think about the medical discipline. If you become an anesthesiologist, you're probably not going to do a lot of brain surgery.
Yeah, probably not, but probably really good at
Yep, that is probably true. I don't think that's likely, given that
the possibility.
I'd love
is
to
it worse with 2 of us, Aaron?
Sorry, Leo?
Is it worse with 2 of us?
No, I'd love to tell you that this is unusual, but it's not.
Actually, Leo, when you're not here, it's mostly me trying to talk about Fat Albert, and Aaron really hates it, which is very upsetting. Because I think Fat Albert, I've never actually, I got to level with you guys. I've never seen an episode of Fat Albert. I just think that it's funny because he's fat.
Comedy act beforehand, and that he is a terrible fucking human being.
But he wasn't fat, in real life.
Bill Cosby, no, but Fat Albert was within the context of his fiction. So
yeah, in the narrative of the show, he was fat. But that was the joke. The joke was he was fat.
Before you logged on, Leo, he said, "I'm not going to make any more Fat Albert jokes. I made 3 in the last one."
You enabled him by answering that question.
Yeah, it's actually true, Aaron. This was your fault.
I did not engage.
Take responsibility for your actions, Chris. You brought this up.
I can't. I don't want to.
Okay, that does what. Leo, can you please dig us out of this hole with your second piece?
I would be more than happy to, before I drink too much more mead.
Probably helpful.
Yeah, I was already stumbling over words. It's probably not going to go down well.
Do you think you can make mead out of meat?
I mean, you could probably flavor mead with meat.
Probably.
And do you think you would call it meated?
Mead jerky.
Yes. Please continue, Leo.
Right,
I'll allow this, and I'm considering permanently replacing Aaron with you.
Fair.
Now, the second section, I called it Accessing Magic, Wraith Quartz and You. And this is really where I drew a lot of inspiration from Chris's input into your original discussion. I really liked sort of visually what he put down, and obviously mechanically I thought it had a lot of potential too. So Vaesta is not just a spoken and gestural language, it's also a written one. The Vestari, of course, can use the Vaesta glyphs to cast spells, as if they are unable to vocalize for whatever reason. The use of Vaesta glyphs is not unlike using programming language, using dozens of clauses, subclauses, and conditional statements describing the framework and pathways for the magic to take in order to manifest the desired effect. If you go back and listen to the original recording, I'm basically lifting that straight from Chris.
Yes, you're welcome.
It's long, complex, dry, and inefficient for everyday use.
Just like Chris.
It's also the only way a Gruidae...
I was going to say the same thing, you stupid bastard.
So yes, it's long, complex, dry, and inefficient for everyday use. It's also the only way a Gruidae Vestari is capable of using Vaesta in its written form. The tool for this is the very same that powers the Vestari magics when spoken, Wraith Quartz. The wielding of Wraith Quartz allows the Vestari to tap into and channel the magical energies needed to manifest their effects. Whether the Wraith Quartz is housed in a wand, a rod or staff, jewellery, or simply held in the hand is of little consequence, and is usually a matter of personal taste when it comes to the basics. However, much like the use of the spoken language, fluency in the written form brings certain advantages, as well as certain drawbacks for the user. As inefficient as it can be to scribe out the full description or program, if you will, of a spell, the ability to do so can provide a number of benefits. For the Gruidae Vestari, their Wraith Quartz wand or staff or whatever have you, can be thought of as their pen, used to write out the Vaesta glyphs on a page, in the dirt, on a stone wall, or even in the air. Only practical for ritualized magics where time and safety allow uninterrupted focus, it nonetheless allows the Vestari to learn not just the formulae for an effect, but the glyphs themselves and the grammatical laws that govern their use. Once the Vestari achieves the fluency of an Alurdidae, the significant increase in power opens up to them. Provided they have ready access to a significant amount of Wraith Quartz, where the Wraith Quartz in one's wand, for example, is relatively small and easily replaced as it's depleted, perhaps like the inkwell in a particularly nice ballpoint pen. The Vestari with sufficient understanding and access to enough Wraith Quartz can begin to create for themselves a small armament of single-use Wraith Quartz spell bombs of various effects. By inscribing glyphs into Wraith Quartz crystals, and Alurdidae Vestari can store an effect for later use, activating a spell stored within the Wraith Quartz crystal by destroying the crystal and loosing the magical energies within, usually in conjunction with a targeting phrase and or gesture, depending on the effect. Vestari of Menuridae fluency can take this one step further. They are capable of fashioning themselves a spellbook of sorts. With enough experience and talent, a Menuridae, I will get that one day, can take the same principle of imbuing a Wraith Quartz crystal with a programmed effect, but no longer needs to destroy the crystal, instead activating the spell within using a keyword or phrase. Once used, they need to recharge the crystal through channeling before they can cast the spell another time. Despite this limitation, it does mean that with enough forethought and prep time, a Vestari with this level of fluency can become a powerful adversary or ally. At these two tiers of understanding, this level of fluency can become, I lost where I was at. At these two tiers of understanding, and depending on the individual Vestari's attitudes towards preparedness, these practitioners can carry on their person a small fortune in Wraith Quartz. Seldom are they targeted by thieves, however, as the Wraith Quartz has already been put to use, and so is of limited value on the secondary market, especially when only other Vestari would be capable of using these crystals. It's also the wise thief who considers just who they may be stealing from, and what their fate may be should an aggrieved wizard catch up. Much as with the spoken word, the rare and powerful Cucluidae have such fluency with the use of Vaesta glyphs and mastery over the grammatical laws that they are able to distill entire spell programs into but a few phrases. This fluency and the knowledge to layer multiple spells within a single Wraith Quartz crystal makes them potentially among the most powerful mortal denizens of Heliakon. Their ability to store and access vast amounts of information within but a few Wraith Quartz crystals allows them versatility, subtlety, and power on a level few others can match. there is a tale told of one particularly wealthy and resourceful Vestari who went to the trouble of figuring out how to, and then spending the significant time and resources required to grow Wraith Quartz crystals into uniform rectangular slabs in order to fashion themselves a literal spellbook, complete with Wraith Quartz pages. The slabs of Wraith Quartz were bound together and totaled just 6 pages in all. While 6 pages may not sound like much, each page was near an inch thick, and so were predictably hefty, but not impossibly cumbersome to carry. So pure and ordered was the crystal that each page bore the capacity to record a number of spells within its matrix, depending on the Vestari's competency with the language. The process was so costly and involved that none have attempted to replicate the feat since. In fact, the Vestari that created this Wraith Quartz tome took the secrets of its creation with them to the grave, a situation made all the sadder by the fact that they died before ever imbuing a single spell into its pages. So long did it take to make that they did not live to see the fruits of their labour blossom, and shortly after binding the tome pages together, they passed. Where the blank tome ended up is a mystery, generations old and obfuscated by time, rumour, and the embellishments of those who tell the tale and those that told it before them. But should this relic ever surface, its bearer would surely be a force few would stand against willingly. That was just a little fun aside, creating a little magical artifact within the flavour of the Vaestry and the Vaesta.
I like that. That is fun, Leo. That is very fun. I really enjoy all of these editions. These are really good. Wow.
Yeah, again, you guys are the initial source of inspiration. So,
but you know what? This is what women must feel like when they see men teaching children the things that men know, like about how to play Warhammer or purchase trading cards.
My wife is sitting in the background just shaking her head at you right now.
Is this not true? Is this not a joy? This is what it feels like when you see a baby and then it's ruined by another person giving it forbidden knowledge.
I've already been doing that with my own son.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
awesome.
He's just thankful that he doesn't understand English yet.
I think he understands probably some English.
So I was
Probably a little
thinking
bit.
that the marrying this with your first half, Aaron says, desperately trying to bring this podcast back on track.
Oh yeah, sorry. This is a podcast
about story creating and stuff. Remember,
I'm never going to be invited back.
This was your idea.
Well, okay, but primarily, Aaron, this is a podcast about creativity. And is there a more pure form of creation than creating life? I think not. Thank you, women. Don't laugh at that, Leo.
It was just the way you delivered that, really. The sentiment was genuinely nice.
I'm thankful. Like, you know, I occasionally thank my mother for giving me life. It's one of those things. It's like a gift you can't return.
True. Anyway.
Use of
Wraith just incinerate it.
Use of Wraith Quartz. Use of Wraith Quartz. What I love what you're doing there. Interestingly, what of course you don't know, Leo, is that many major episodes later, I talk about a couple of other types of magic within the world of Heliakon, including the dwarven invented and now widely used magic of Storm, which has to do with them inscribing runes onto things to do magic. So the idea of essentially inscribing runes onto something and then tossing it and having magical effect occurs is something that I should talk about in episode 11.
Wow, that's cool.
We're
is that episode 11?
Yes.
That's the one. Oh, that's right. That's the one I am about to finish editing.
Yes. So we do a lot of work ahead of time. So, or at least we
loads
more than me. I just do the talking and trying to keep us on track.
Actually, Aaron does an amazing job. He does with our mainline episodes. He does the free PDF for people. I wish there was actually a way of tracking how many people have looked at it and downloading it. I'm tracking views and listens and stuff like that. But I suspect that this might be something that in the future we'll find out that a lot of people are enjoying. I certainly hope they're enjoying, because I'm enjoying it a lot. Aaron does a lot of cool stuff with layout and sort of adding bits and pieces to it. So thank you, Aaron.
Cool. I very much should check it out. I've been really enjoying the podcast, obviously. But
thank you.
The PDF, I've been sort of just holding out for the end of the season. I'm just going to check it all out at once.
Yep. I don't think you're alone there.
Good idea.
What I'm just wanting to add to what you've added, because I want to take all of this on board with the wraith courts. So my major concern is I don't want the Vaesta to be doing things that are too much like the Storn magic. So the primary point of difference is that Vaesta speak spells, or they write them. The idea that at lower levels of fluency that you can put a essentially one-shot spell into Wraith Courts and use it to help cast spells. What I'm thinking is that once you've moved past the lowest level, so once you're no longer a Gruidae and you've become a Laudidae, Minuridae, or Cuculidae, that's when you can start casting spells within the context of a combat. However, standard, if you want to cast a spell, you have to spend your entire action, that is move, bonus, and action, to cast a spell, and it does not take effect until the beginning of your next action. This makes them powerful, but not very reactive. However, if you use your resources to inscribe a spell into Wraith Courts, then you can simply cast that spell as an action. At first, it requires you to expend that resource because, as sort of in that spellbomb manner that you're referring to, you speak an abbreviated version of the spell because the rest of it is in the crystal, and the crystal explodes, spell happens. Neat. At higher levels, you can simply inscribe it into the crystal, and then at the very high levels, at the Cuculidae level, then rather than having like one spell prepared in a piece of expensive Wraith Quartz, you can have multiple, giving you that versatility that you were talking about, with the highest level, of course, being the relic, the artifact spellbook that has so much in there, and it's specifically designed to have phenomenal amounts of Vaesta spells written into it. That would be my personal take on it.
Kind of like it. I kind of like it.
Chris?
I also kind of like it.
Well, I did have one final bit on that really awesome spellbook notion that you had. Mm-hmm. I thought it was very, very cool. I only want to add to it that the guy... So what you might remember is that Wraith Quartz is formed by life moving through... magic moving through the membrane between sort of the realm of magic and then the real world. And that most commonly is by birth and death is by far the most common of the two, since that tends to happen in areas. So presumably this individual wanting to grow Wraith Quartz did so by bringing a lot of people into a space and doing murder to them.
Oh no, hey, that's bad.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking bad, which is also why when he died with this thing... Now, charging Wraith Quartz involves you to open up your soul, and then you filter magic through your own soul and into the Wraith Quartz. Well, if
it's kind of beautiful.
Dying, do you reckon you might try and do that, and then you end up with your soul inside your really cool spell book that other people want to take and then inscribe their spells and think they're really, really cool, but now there's sort of like a mind in there that has access to all this magic? That would be my
freaking awesome.
My kind of take on it.
Yeah, I quite like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
like magical oopsies.
Make like a cool little artifact that was sort of flavored with this, and that ties in really, really well with the rest of your world, and it's just badass.
You say our world, but it's actually partly your world now too, Leo. Aww. Yeah, we're sharing this world. It's
that's really cool. I really appreciate you guys sort of inviting me along. It's been cool. Like, I know, I think episode 1 when you were talking about Wraith Quartz, I was like, Aaron, I have ideas. And,
I incorporated some of them.
Oh, cool.
So, that's really, really cool.
It's something I've really enjoyed, like, listening to and taking part in as like a consumer, I guess. But it's been quite the privilege to be invited to join you as creators as well.
I hope to have more people on the podcast in the future. I think probably looking at season 2, that's something we'll probably do more of in general. But
I'm sure that's you're not going to be wanting for people that are creative enough.
Oh, that's incredibly kind, Leo. But
willing and eager to join you guys.
look, the thing is that I think that there are so many unique voices in the space of like setting creation, talking about role-playing games, D&D, but also, you know, creating these worlds that we can all share in. And I think that even people who are not the usual suspects for this kind of thing, you know, I want to open up this space for them, right? Like I want people to think, you know, we could be creators. We can be creators. I said this incredibly incredibly Aaron-esque thing on Bluesky a couple weeks ago, which is I truly believe that creativity and creation and art is our birthright. It is, I genuinely think that it is something that is so special about humans, and it is possibly the very best thing that we can do, especially in these dark and uncertain times. Sorry, to your child specifically, he's going to have to fight off the mutant hordes in the near future.
Very true, but I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment, mate. Every now and again, I will be doom scrolling, and something will come across a feed where someone is doing something just immensely creative, whether it's art or, I mean, I don't know if you've seen those wind tunnels where people sort of skydive indoors.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's almost like zero-G dancing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I've seen art in that, and just the sheer creativity and poetry and movement that people are capable of doing that nothing else on this planet is capable of doing. And those are the sorts of things that go, yeah, okay, sometimes I still have some hope for humanity. So.
Well, you know what? I mean, no better time than right now. I don't think any other podcast has done this. Let's just quickly work out what is art? Is it intentionality? Is it our ability to see patterns in things? What is it, Leo? What is art?
Well, that is such a broad question. I think art.
But I want you to think on it like really quickly and just give me a really good answer that I could put into like a blurb, maybe.
I feel like art is just the raw act of creation and imagination and passion, like the junction of those sorts of three things, all meeting.
Like making a bread.
Yes. It could be like, if someone has enough passion. I mean, I've seen people do some amazing things with bread. Like I can't remember who it was or where they were based, but there was someone that was making bread that looked like severed limbs. Now, not everyone's cup of tea, sure, but that is art.
That's literally not a cup of tea. That's actually bread, Leo.
Someone has to be creative and passionate enough and imaginative enough to birth something like that into the world. So it could be baking.
It could be, yeah.
I've seen.
No, I agree with that, Leo. I agree with that.
Athletes move. I've seen in art in all aspects of life, and it purely comes for me from that creativity, from that inspiration, that passion to bring something into the world that didn't exist before.
Okay, now Aaron, what is art?
I'm not going to do a better description than I think Leo did. And since we've been recording now for over an hour, I'm thinking we might want to actually sign off. And I'd like to leave us with a little pearl of related wisdom from the wisest man I think I've ever not known personally, but from Sir Terry Pratchett. Not from.
Okay, well, this is very upsetting.
Humans need fantasy to be human. To be the place where the falling angel meets the rising ape. I think that's I love that. It's still
that's really good.
It's one of my foundational philosophies, I think.
Mine too. Hey, ask me what I think art is.
What is art, Chris?
What is art?
All right, guys. So Oscar Wilde said that all art is quite useless. And I believe that is very true. So art is anything that you do that's useless, but that brings you joy.
Yeah, no, it is useful. It's just not going to keep you alive. It's just going to give you happiness.
It's not going to.
Happiness.
Can you even hear yourself? Can you even hear yourself, Aaron? It's not going to keep you alive. It's just going to bring you happiness. No one wants happiness. Everyone just wants to endure until
Not everyone's Polish.
That's ridiculous.
Of course,
Aaron,
your Polishness is showing.
guys, for those listening, Aaron just pointed to himself as if to indicate that he wants happiness, which, I don't know. Can you get back to us?
I'm not succeeding, but I get little fragments here and there.
The pursuit of it.
I just want whoever's listening, please comment on this video somehow. Do you want happiness? Is this truly what you want, or do you just want to endure until the grave takes you, like normal people?
On that cheerful note.
On that cheerful note, I'll leave us with that. Thank you for listening. This will be a slightly longer episode.
Wide margin.
By a wide margin, a special episode. And I think I'm going to do a little less editing than I usually do, because I think that flowed quite well. I'm going to leave a lot of our cool stuff in there. Yeah, that's right. That's a good word. And Leo, we really appreciate having you on. And perhaps I would love to have you on again in the future.
I would love to be on again. Thank you very much, both of you, for the opportunity, the invitation. It's like I said, it's
brilliant.
Quite the privilege. Thank you.
You understand we're not paying you for this.
Aww.